a week. It is so many weeks have passed by, years have passed by. Good to see the fraternity still with us. So before we go on to this very interesting subject, is there any comments on the previous one? Any points that people want to mention, say, speak, or any experience you had in the last week that you may wish to share?
Saddam Suresh. Sorry, James again. So anyway, last week I was in Penang conducting Soham meditation workshop. It was very good. With Swami blessing, of course. But then it come to me again, something that probably I've forgotten. Just want to share with everyone, those who are here. One Swami said, the silent, the bliss is God. And I was so happy when I heard that, you know. Those the silent and the bliss is when you do the meditation, you reach the silent and the bliss. And yet, Rama Maharshi also warned that the biggest obstacle was the bliss, right? Bliss, because a lot of people were attached to the bliss. And if you are attached to the bliss, then you won't go higher. And also, I think it was Rama Maharshi who said, I think he was the one who said, either he or the Maharaj, either one of them was saying, he said, the bliss was the obstacle. When you go higher, is the calmness, and then only samadhi, and then only samadhi. So again, I read this long time ago that there is this samadhi. There are a few types. One of the two common one that is mentioned to me, I say is common. One is savikapa samadhi, which is common. That means you reach the silent, the bliss, you lost the body and the mind consciousness. And accordingly, we know when you're in bliss, you wouldn't be, you don't want this body. You're just in bliss. You wouldn't even want to eat. So you need somebody to feed you, you know. It is if within 18 to 21 days you don't eat, then you're gone. You're gone. Okay? I think this, everybody, most of you have heard about this. Then the other thing is, this is the Savikapa Samadhi. Then the highest one, he said the highest one is, like what you say, the hope. That is the Nivikapa or Sahaja Samadhi. Nivikapa Samadhi or Sahaja Samadhi. That means, after the bliss, you come out, you are conscious of the body and conscious of the world, and yet you are in full bliss. And then you are in tune with God. And that is the highest. And that's what most of the guru like Buddha, Rama Maharshi, or, you know, most of them are in that level where they can do work for God or living with God together. Sairam.
Thanks, James. Thank you so much. That was a good information. Okay, and fine. All right. Okay, so let's begin. We go on with the last session we had. We didn't finish that. Sabitan, you're there, right?
Yes. Sairam. Salam everyone, my humble pranams, the lotus feet of our beloved Master, Bhagavan Sri Satsang Baba. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to meet every Tuesday. Just sitting down here and sharing knowledge and, you know, seeing everyone, meeting everyone. And to a certain extent, lifting everyone as well through this process. I mean, that's including ourselves. So with that, let's continue. The first question in regards to our topic here, Swami says greatness is the consciousness of the achievement and the life. What spiritual practices do you follow in order to achieve this kind of greatness? So may I invite any of the sisters here? Sister Shanta, are you here, sister?
Yeah, I'm here, Sairam.
Sairam, Sister Shanta, can you share your activities and how do you?
As I have already said, morning prayers and evening prayers, then also the service activities and satsangs. We all get together, our mahilas, we have satsangs. That is how we connect. And
And
yes,
how do you,
prayers.
yeah, and how do you find this activities that you're doing getting you more connected to the divinity within you?
Prayers, of course, I whenever I pray in the morning and evening, and also during lunch break, and when I do Namasmaranam, I feel peace and lot of solace in my mind. I feel I feel a lot of peacefulness within me. And also satsangs, of course, brings all our mahilas together and we discuss certain things. And especially now we are discussing Prema Vahini, and every para we are discussing everything in that. And they are giving their opinions about certain paras that we read. And all our mahilas, we get together. That is, yesterday we had that, once a week we have it on Mondays.
Okay, thank you, Sister Shanta. May I invite Sister Geeta? Are you here, Sister?
Yes, Brother Saitan.
Yes, Sister Geeta, would you focus on the SSC Rose classes as well, and how do you feel that this gives you a kind of consolidates your connection with the divine?
Oh, because I've been in this for many, many years. I mean, it is a long journey actually, but of course it was slow and it built up and it's already ingrained in me. So my attention is always there, plus the Rose class preparations as well. It works quite in tandem actually, because the Rose program is like an offshoot of the SSC program. Besides that, of course, I'm listening to chantings often, Swami's Gayatri Mantra and all other Vedic chanting, which I always leave it on my living room TV. It's always, and I'll be doing my work and whatever I need to do around my place. So this constant wiring is the one that is helping me a lot, because I've had quite a number of health issues as well as, other personal matters issues. So it has helped me quite a lot. So that is why I always believe firmly that the constant, what shall I say, being in contact, in connection, is the one that is helping. So besides that, of course, I go for bhajans and constantly, actually more so engaged in spiritual activities, besides doing my normal other activities. So I feel very happy actually when I'm doing my spiritual activities. So that helps me a lot to keep in close contact, Swami.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Geeta. May I invite Sister Cindy? Sister Cindy, are you here? Sairam, Sister Cindy, are you here? Oh, wow, okay. So Sister Veron, are you here, Sister? We have Sister Veron here. Okay, I don't think she's here as well. Okay. So, Sister Cindy and Sister Veron both discussed. They were in the opinion that sometimes just raising awareness, something as simple as being exposed to satsang and participating in study circles, can certainly raise the awareness and knowledge, just like what we all experience. And also, ultimately, Sister Varun spoke on silence and meditation is regular. So for her, silence really connects her with Swami, and learning Rudram and practicing as well. So enjoy the value of silence. So for all of you any of you who want to know, want to be okay and comfortable with silence, and if you're having any resistance to silence at the moment, whenever resistance is found, when you are alone and when silence starts to pervade in your experience, then you start quickly finding for something to do, rushing off to turn your TV on, or rushing off to reach your handphone, or even when you go to the toilet, when there's silence, and you start to look for something to do, look for something to chant, look for something to pray. So you always keep your mind in constant activity. It's not to say that something bad, but learning to love silence as it is, learning to be okay with silence.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, allowing silence to flourish within your being. That is also an important aspect. So if you're looking for ways how to do this, please don't forget, from the National Meditation Team, we are organizing a silent retreat, which will go on the first week of April, and this will be in Broga. So we will teach you practices on how you can cultivate silence in your day-to-day experience. So what we do is we give you a bunch of practices, a few practices, and you bring back to your home during the weekend when there's no one at home or when there's no one disturbing you. You use these practices. You practice them at your home, in your garden, in your house, anywhere, right? So that you get to cultivate silence and be friends with silence. So this is one of the some of the sharings from our group members. Okay, so now let's watch about the middle path.
The middle path.
A prickle of porcupines were freezing because it was an extremely cold winter and too cold to move across the country. So they moved closer together to keep each other warm. But soon they felt extremely uncomfortable because of their spines and moved away from each other, but were soon back together again to comfort each other. So they got caught in between suffering and staying close to each other. Either they poked each other or they felt terribly cold. Then they moved closer again and realized that at a certain distance it was comfortable. The prickling was tolerable and there was enough warmth so that they didn't freeze to death.
Remember, in a family too, the behaviors and the attitudes of others might prick us. But we should always remember that the warmth of love is the most important gift a family gives us, and we should stay together in spite of the little pricks.
Sorry. So I'd just like to ask anyone who's here online with us today, what are some of the learning points you can gather from this story of the porcupine? How the porcupine solved the problem. Saram, anyone?
Saram, Kapitan.
Yes.
Sorry. Just to share my experience of family. Family. We have few brothers. I mean, we have a family of 10. So quite many brothers. And we all have our own leadership, our individual, different thinking, different way of doing things. And all have their leadership, but different opinion, different view. Yet the good thing was, luckily, that time my father was in. So he always called all the brother to, have meetings, sit down together. So we express our own individual opinion view, which are different. But within office, we don't quarrel, but we do shout our opinion and all that because I think overexcited and all that. but we listen, as brothers, we listen. And then finally, somehow one or two of them will agree that certain points, certain views are good. And then we just accept that. And it's interesting. It can work in, although differences, but can work in harmony and unity if each of us can listen to each other, knowing that we have different opinion, different leadership, knowing that there is a difference. And yet we don't talk about the weaknesses of, no, you are different and that different. No, we are all suggesting something we want to do. Everyone suggests different opinion for the good of the family or for the good of the company, and then we just choose the best. And of course, there must be opinion where, at least 2 or 3 of them agree that, this, I mean, in the heart, they will know this is a good opinion or this is a good view. And then everybody in harmony and happy and go forward with the objective side up.
Okay, so thank you, Brother James.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is one of the learning points from the video. And there's a wonderful Malay proverb which goes like this, buang yang kero ambil yang jernih. So this is quite similar to what Brother James had said. So it means to say that we sieve out the dirt, and then we take the clear part of the water whenever we want to drink water, right, from the river or any other source of water. So similarly, we should always look towards working in a more harmonious fashion and working towards goodness. And just now when we heard, some of our sisters answered questions, most of the answers were very related to spiritual practices like our personal sadhana, right? So ultimately, we are moving towards self-transformation. Self-transformation means that how we can use these learnings from our sadhana, or cultivation from our sadhana, cultivation either in the purity of mind, purity of action, purity of thoughts, right, or purity of heart, whatever you may say, So how can we use this into our daily life? How can we apply this? So one of the examples would be what Brother James had mentioned earlier. So living harmoniously, discounting throwing away the unnecessary filth of jealousy, egoic tendencies, all the hatreds, anger, all of that, and then focusing on the positive. So just similarly like the porcupines just now, right? So this is one learning from the video. Anyone else has other learnings or anything else that you noticed from the video?
Sairam, brother.
Sairam.
What we understand from the behavior of the porcupines is they had instinctively, animals don't have intellect, but they instinctively were able to adjust to the situation, which was supposed to be freezing temperature. How are they going to live in a condition where they will be in a comfort and also protected? Because when they live close together, it'll be very difficult for predators to come and attack them. At the same time, they have this comfort. That's an instinctive behavior, which is very nice to watch. In human nature, human beings, we have two additional qualities. One is we have our intellect. The other is we have the sixth sense. Using these two, plus what we have learned from the use of vairagyam, the use of our discretionary powers, we can find the harmony. But brother, values don't fall from the sky. And values will not surface in situations to a family. It will not surface. Values must be coached. So there must be somebody in the family who will hold the light. The father, the mother, an uncle, a neighbor, maybe the teacher, somebody who would have brought the light of knowledge on how to live. And those are how to live are supposed to be values. So the child will be able to take this home and he would be able to transform the family. He will be able to show how to live, like that great story of Pallada, and how he was supported by the Lord, although the father was a very bad example. Pallada stood firm and began to lead a life which was very dogmatic. Similarly, there must be something in the child which will engulf him with values to see the right from the wrong. And he can't see that until the values are shown to him. And then his intellect and his intuition and his adjustment powers comes in so that he is able to live harmoniously. Brother, I think this is not a condition, but this is a situation which demands that kind of attention. You know why I say that? I'll give you a few examples. I found my father had a very good Chinese friend. This man does not know how to read and write, but he was driving big cars and he was very successful businessman. Very successful. He does not know how to read and write. He cannot sign a check. So he has got to use thumbprint. But he is loaded with money. He had a family. In his room, when you go there, you can see he has put the charcoal used by his father for the difficult times the father went through to bring up his family. So this good son remembers that. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough education. However, God gave him plenty and he was very successful. He had a family, but he was not able to give the light to the family. And what happened was the eldest son slowly dropped out of school. The other children did not follow, did not have a strong background. And then we found that the eldest son got into bad habits. And then slowly the shine of the family began to fade, and difficult situations arose. The father was not able to manage. The father became sick. Then he died, and the entire family broke to pieces. Why? They had the intellect, they had the opportunity, but then the values were not there. The values were not there. Somebody had to bring out the value so that the family would have been very, very, very successful, because the father had a heart of gold. And he was brilliant in the sense that he was not able to speak English, and his Malay was just a smattering bit, and he was able to make money. He used to sit with Europeans, English as his companions on a table where they used to drink. And the Englishman does not know how to speak Malay. This man speaks a little bit, one or two words of English, and they could sit for hours and develop a friendship. And in that public relations which he had, he won the hearts of those what he called Europeans, and he got many contracts, and that's how he became very successful. However, as a story I told you, it just went into disharmony and it scattered. And in the end, there was a lot of people began to throw pity. They felt very bad that it has ended in that kind of a misery. There are many more such examples where the families did not have the right what you call opportunity. They did not have that right knowledge at that moment of time. So what I'm saying is we need this knowledge to be brought in. So we in the Sai family, we are lucky because one, we can use that knowledge to bring in the harmony. And number two, we also take it as an opportunity to share this knowledge, like like the family I was just telling you about. So when you go out and reach out, we will be able to do good service because of the knowledge we have and we share so that they don't end up in that kind of a misery, for them to get into this harmony. Sairam, brother.
Sairam, thank you so much, Brother Rama, for sharing.
True that. A family is the pillar for a so I agree with that. I agree with that.
Sairam, we learn patience, tolerance, and it's like the 5 fingers. When one finger is not there, it's difficult, like that. So we have to understand other people's point of view, forgive, forget, share. Most of them we have to understand. We have to place ourselves in their place and see. But sometimes we have to forgive. If we don't agree, we can't do anything else. We can share opinion, but we can't force on them. So it's all need, and it will be connected with love only. We must forget and forgive and share, and we have to be content with what we have. We learn contentment, and we share. All this we learn from the family, and different opinions will come. We have to understand. So the understanding is very important in a family. Without understanding, it's difficult. So we have to somehow adjust and tolerate and live. Then it will be easy. So some opinions we can't accept, but we also can't accept. So what we have to live like that. That is Sairam.
Sairam. So thank you, Sister Rajesh, Brother Vish, and Brother Rama for sharing their insights into this matter. So Brother Rama brought up a very important word here, which I was, like waiting out from everyone. And the word he used was values, right? So what defines us? So not the spiritual practices that we do are to purify our mind and intellect, and ultimately trying to get back in connection with our Atmic consciousness, or our conscience, and beyond that. So how can we use this spiritual sadhana that we've been performing all the time, and then use that or translate that into our own self-transformation? So one of the ways is focusing on our values. If you notice, the entire organization is based on these values. And these values that Swami has brought, Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa. So these values are not something which is just it's just not something that we should just know about. No, these values are something that we should practice every day, every single day. And these sadhanas are supposed to help us to inculcate these values and putting them into practice. And once these values are put into practice, then you realize how connected you are to the Atmic consciousness, so your own Atma. And then bliss will start to emanate from within yourself. So knowing all of that, they were very good sharing from our dear brothers and sisters today. Hopefully, if there's something that we can bring from this question, is how we can apply this to values itself. So focusing on the values in our day-to-day experience. And sometimes we just let go of these values because we feel that, we have studied in EHV the 5 human values. And after that, somewhere down the line, when you go through life and all that, all these values start falling away one by one. Because when you sit for bhajan, if you go just 1 week once for the bhajans, and once in a while you listen to a satsang, how are you going to enforce the values? So how much of effort are you taking to enforce these values into our experience, into our action, into our word, into building our conscience as well? So with that, we shall move on. Thank you everyone for sharing. Sorry, let's move on. So the second question here is, Swami says, in your own personal, the question is, in your personal experience, how is goodness the way to extinguish desires and cultivate true happiness? In your own personal experience, how is goodness the way to extinguish desires and cultivate true happiness? So the key word here is, how can we use goodness to extinguish our desires and cultivate true happiness? So for that, let's watch this cartoon.
Hold on, just before, sorry, just before going back to, I think rewind a little bit, because it's a very important, the porcupine is a very important lesson. There's one more concept that we need to understand. Yes, value, education, all this is important, but one more understanding we must have. The fact that you are with 1 or 2 or 3 individuals in the family, and they are, when you come close, you have the pricking sensation. There is another dimension to that also. The fact is, every member of the family who comes together, or husband and wife, spouse, to your children, family, all that, everything is karmically linked, which means to say, when you're getting a prick, it is also the examination. That in this examination hall, my job is to first, as what Swami said, in any relationship, first understanding, then adjustment. First understanding, then adjustment. So understanding requires us to move our level of consciousness to a higher level of acceptance. So literally, the pricks are also meant for us to learn certain things about our own selves. Because if you're not able to know that, acceptance won't come inside. Acceptance don't come inside, forgiveness won't come inside. Forgiveness won't come inside, and acceptance won't come inside, forbearance won't come inside. Baba said, of all the sadhana, forbearance is the best. So sometimes in a family, there will be differences. So they went to Shivan temple and prayed and said, oh Lord Shiva, my family have got so many porcupines, everybody's pricking here, pricking there. And it's very difficult, Shiva, I cannot manage this. And then he comes out from the temple and then says, okay guys, listen, you have a problem. You think you have a problem? My God. You look on my left-hand side, my son Ganapati is riding on an elephant. An elephant, there's a Mushikan there. Mushikan and elephant are bitter enemies. On the right-hand side on the left-hand side is Murugan. And Murugan is having peacock, and below the peacock is a snake. Peacock and snake are bitter enemies. Do you know I ride on a bull? My wife rides on a tiger. Bull and tiger are bitter enemies. So literally in my family, there are talk about porcupine, talk about pins and pricks. My family is a good example of that. It's all diametrically opposite type of things are inside here. So, but in my presence, which is Shiva, in my presence, Shiva means auspiciousness. In the presence of auspiciousness, we don't sort of destroy the enemy, but we destroy the enmity. So the issue here is that it comes from acceptance, forgiveness, understanding that the other individual is like that, understanding this individual is like that, which is why Grihastha is prescribed before Vanaprastha and Sannyasam, because this is an orientation program. In this orientation program, if in a small community of 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people, you are not able to understand the eccentricities of each one, you're not able to understand, people will pull in different directions, but how to manage that pulling, to have that endurance and the capability, is a spiritual practice by itself inside. So this is a very important. A lot of people sometimes want to get away. They run around, do so many 100 other things outside, but inside they can't find peace and can't find happiness as well. So when you go back to the formula of that is, Swami, how do you find, how do you get, what do you call, peace in the family? He said you must start from the first one. What is that? If there's righteousness in the heart, there'll be beauty in character. If there's beauty in character, there'll be harmony at home. See, the harmony at home comes from righteousness in the self. So the self must have a dharmic vibration, which will resonate with everybody, will understand everyone. So that is the aspirations one must have. So only when we have such aspirations in an individual can this be tackled. So now in a family, for example, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody will become spiritual. Maybe there'll be one or two people who are like that, but the spiritual person in the family can see, oh, this person is like that, oh, that person is. So now he has got a higher responsibility of bringing everybody together. So spiritual people have an added dimension, added responsibility, you know. We have to play that role also, bringing diverse people together, bringing people together. You can see a classic example of Hiranyakashipu in Prahlada's case, since that was mentioned. Every time he's thrown out, he comes back. Every time he's thrown out, he comes back. And finally, he says that God is here in the pillar. Yes, one kick, the pillar came out, God comes out, and then he brings back the father. So whatever said and done, at the end of the day, he brought back his father, transformation and all that. So this porcupine story is an important story to understand it at various levels. Various depth must be given towards it. But it is our responsibility to find a harmonizing string that brings everyone together from by two examples, acceptance and then also forgiveness and forbearance. I just want to add that point.
Sairam, wonderful explanation. And may I just ask you a bit more, and maybe if you don't mind explaining, if let's say the situation is, just now you mentioned if it's in your family, if you're the spiritual one, you can have an understanding. But how within the Sai family itself, we have many porcupines poking each other.
So
then what is your understanding of that?
The understanding is that in every circumstances, if the porcupines we create, you know, it's not that they were porcupines. It is our karmic thing that we created those porcupines. So the fact is, that is why it is very critical to know that in our everything is our creation. So how did we create that? Why is it that we are experiencing that? Then we have to search our own purity and go within, and you find that impurities will just go away in time. It will happen, but it may not be instant, but it will happen in time. So that is the process of spirituality. So in spirituality, spiritualists, we do not point a finger or don't blame anything else outside. Spiritual people are there's a lifestyle change in the way we look at things. Normal people will start blaming everybody, oh, his fault, his fault, his fault. Spiritual people, what we do is that, okay, it has happened, things have happened like that. So what we do is that we start to look within, okay, what is it that we must do? How is it that we must change? What in these circumstances, how can we respond? That difference is in the way in which we treat those experiences and turn it into a learning opportunity.
Thank you so much, Anna. That's a wonderful explanation. So sometimes just bringing awareness itself, just being aware of it, that's step number one. Being aware, most of us are not even aware that we are causing problem to a certain situation, or we are offending someone by our words are too sharp, or sometimes we just say things without considering the fact that some people in the room might get hurt. And also some of our actions may be, not soft enough or not respectful of people who are elder than us, or people who are younger than us, or people who are of the same age group, or within the office setting, non-office setting. So just being very mindful and bringing awareness to our thoughts, words, and actions. So once we start to watch all of this, being a constant observer of whatever transaction that is happening, then you're already moving to step one, which is knowing itself. Then once you know, then like what Anet said just now, you're able to appraise it better. You're able to understand the karmic relationship between all that's happening in your home and why are you getting affected, right? You can have a sibling who's beside you, exposed to the same toxic environment, and that person might respond completely differently compared to you. So then the question is, why are you responding in that manner compared to the other sibling who's exposed to the same toxicity? Or or you have an office mate who's exposed to the same boss, but why are you responding this way and that person is responding differently? So then your understanding becomes more deeper when you introspect and find out what is it within you which is making you react rather than respond.
See, obnoxious behaviors are very, very important. Obnoxious behavior of others towards us is an important indicator. Just as in your skin, I will tell you the story of the porcupine within the body. So far, we are talking about family, the porcupine within the family, within society and all that. But the porcupine also exists within the body. How is that possible? For example, if you eat something and the skin is now having rashes, or the skin is now reacting towards it. So the porcupine now is inside. So the body is reacting. So now if I ignore certain things that the body is telling me and continue to aggravate the situation, then I'm not heeding to the signals. But if I know that the prick is now appearing, something in my body is reacting, hyperreacting. Why is it happening? Why is it happening only when I eat certain type of food? So I now need to be very calculative of the kind of food, of meat, be vigilant over the food so that I avoid such food. So you see, I am now adjusting. I'm now understanding. So body reactions and bodily responses is also an indicator to know how our health should be navigated. Like that, if you extend it a little bit more, if you got an obnoxious boss who's always picking on you and picking, it is our creation. This is our creation of that boss, not the boss's fault. Now, this is the difference between spiritual people and normal people. Normal people will resign from the job or find something else. But a spiritual person, why is it that you need to find? So now you work on the spiritual part of meditation, give love to the boss, continue to bring him into the light, continue. And finally, after several months, suddenly you'll find your behavior changing. There you are. So what did you do? You managed to cut a little bit of the spikes and you will be able to adjust and move forward. That's why Swami said, fight the devil. Fight the devil. That's what's the meaning of the word fight the devil. But you can never fight the devil if you don't follow the first one. What is that? Follow the master. So the follow the master is a signal in the key behavioral changes, how to follow the master. And then by following the master, the light will come out. Then you're easy for you to face the devil because the light will be flashing on your personality. So you'll start to see the flaws in your own individual. You'll start to see weaknesses in your own individual. Then it is easy. Then it's easy to fight till the end and finish the game. So becomes easy. So the whole process is that this whole 4 steps that Baba has said is for the purposes of removing all these spikes in our life so that there is a homogeneity in our system, homogeneity in our way of thinking. So even to the table just now, you remember we can reverse back and see the sadhanas that every week everyone can do, japam, doing this. So this also is a way of doing it. Okay, no, not the table, just now okay, that one, So here, all this one is good. SSG classes, early stages, exposure, satsang, evening prayer service, all this is good. But what is the purpose of all these things? If you're just going to that exercise and doing the classes, doing this, doing the participation, doing the japam, all, those are exercises. But what is the effect of that exercises? How throughout the day, what is the frequency of your thinking? That is the consequence of all these things. So if you're not focusing on the consequence of this and only on the practice, then we are just making it like a ritual. So the implication of everything of this is that our mind, okay, when you're going to work, okay, see how your mind is reacting. Or so we have to be vigilant over this. So it's like a heart machine where your heart goes up and down, but you have a steady equilibrium throughout the day without much agitation. Suddenly there'll be somebody say something and you alert, okay, it goes up, then it comes down again. Okay, you see, generally a spiritual mind should not fluctuate too far up. The amplitude of the waves are not too high. That's what it means. But if you're not spiritual and not vigilant, suddenly will shoot up, suddenly will come down, suddenly it'll be like a big swing in the mood swings. There's no equilibrium and there's no tranquility, there's no serenity. You see, the whole idea is to stay in the center and that's what this what middle path, stay in the center. And then you divert a little bit, it's okay, you divert a little bit, no problem, but come back to the center. How strongly we are adhering to the center part is what spiritual life is all about. So someone came and shouted at you. All right, shouted at you, you must be upset. Okay, just go out a bit from the center, but bounce back quickly. Last time before this practice itself took place, what we will experience is that you might really be affected, and it takes 5-6 days for you to come back. And every time you'll be angry with that individual for insulting you, humiliating. These thoughts will go inside your head. But now, hey, very fast you can bounce back. Very quickly you can come back. So this is what it is. Always to come back to the center. Always to come back to. So this is the practice. Japam, spiritual study, morning, evening. All these are the gym exercises that we are doing. For what purpose? To remain in the center. To remain the core. Once we are continuously in the core, Swami said in the Satyasai Speaks, Baba said that everything in the periphery is the diversity of things that is happening. Our job is to move towards the center part, which is the isness of the whole consciousness. Remain in the center, then you'll find you're happy. Another way of looking at it is to move into the eye of the hurricane. In a hurricane, everything will move, but the eye of the hurricane is where you remain peaceful. So the whole idea is to continuously experience bliss and peace and happiness. So anything happened, okay, done, respond back, done, respond back. So if you actually look at your diary, a spiritual person, if you really want to do, take a diary and look throughout that, see how fluctuating the mind is, see how the thought is. Suddenly you thought about somebody lost, someone you thought like that. Then you spend so much time thinking about all those things. Then you go for the japam, and then you do the thing, and then you come back, and then you continue thinking of. So it doesn't make sense. So another point that Satyasai Swami said in Satyasai Speaks also, why is it that those days people meditate and why we meditate? How come they get experience, we are not getting? Baba said those days people have lesser desires than present people. So these are all, we need to put all these facts that is coming out to give us a blueprint in life. If you're not amalgamating this and creating a powerful blueprint in which we can exercise, it will just be an exercise in a practice to give us an identity that we are spiritual. But in the application of it is where we will not be effective. So for us now, we have to see this like that. So last month we last month less peaceful, but this month now I can feel better. Next month it'll be like that. So this growth must be measured and continuously monitored so that we become vigilant.
Okay.
Makes sense,
Sarah, can I add a little bit?
Yeah.
Summary of a little bit of what Brother Rama and Suresh said. I think the first thing is Rama brought up a very good point. He said within the family, probably there are one or two with leadership. That I have to agree. For example, like my father, we listen to all the brothers, the argument, the opinion. Of course, being experienced and more leadership by himself. So he will suggest whichever is the good, and then we support him. So one or two leadership in the family or within the group is very good, just at the center. If a center without leader, then it's very difficult. But you've got few of them who are good leadership, who are wise, and spiritual. Normally the center will run quite well. That is one thing. The other thing is, Suresh also say that within the groups or within the family, there will be a spiritual person who will do more and see more. And that is also true. Because he don't see individual, he see the group, where they stand, their behavior, their character. That I have to agree. Then the other thing is, being a good leader also, there will be tests coming in. Rather than Swami test or probably is not coming. Sometimes certain people just cannot get along with you. I'm sure many of you have that experience. So whenever you meet these type of people, they have their own leadership, but they have a very different opinion, even though it's Swami teaching, right? And then you get hammered for saying certain things that he doesn't agree. I think that situation is where you really apply your patience, your calmness, and then staying cool, and then you listen more to what he wants to say, and then in a quiet way, maybe others will support you, but it doesn't matter in the sense that you just softly share the truth. Whether he agree, doesn't agree, the people around him or around us will know who is right and who's wrong. No point arguing over it. And then he will contemplate upon it and later will realize, there's something, probably he made a mistake or something like that. It doesn't matter. The important thing, if you are the leader, you must keep calm, you must keep cool. And then talk in a soft way, the truth, silent.
Okay, salam everyone. So now, Brother Suresh Anna spoke quite in depth regarding acceptance and how acceptance actually leads to happiness. So let's just watch this video and maybe pick up a few points from this video. Okay, we will do the similar, we will watch and appraise this video in a similar fashion. I'll play the video, and then after that we'll open it to the floor for everyone to jump in and share your opinions on the video and how acceptance leads to happiness.
Acceptance leads to happiness.
Mike, nowadays, why is your friend Martin not joining you in the game of football?
He doesn't feel motivated, coach.
But why?
That's because he's always told to play in a defensive position. Being there, he can't score goals.
So what?
He feels that the boys who score goals get special attention and admiration from everyone else. But isn't it true, coach?
Not at all, Mike. Goals are scored due to the entire team's effort. Each player is strategically placed in the field according to their skills. Without Martin, the team's defense will be weak.
Oh, that's right.
To clear your doubts further, let us hear a story from Uncle Lion.
Once upon a time, a parrot came home upset and confused.
My dear Poppy, you look sad today. What's wrong, sweetheart?
Mom, I hate my stupid beak.
But why? I think it's beautiful.
All the other birds have much cooler beaks. Spoonbill, pelican, hawk, eagle, all of them.
He may be right. They do have very nice beaks. Poppy, my dear, you should go and see Macaw. He will know what to do. He's the wisest of the parrots and he lives in the tallest tree in the forest. Yes, Macaw will know what to do.
Excuse me, Macaw. I have a problem. Please help.
Oh dear Poppy, what is it?
I have a stupid beak. Why can't I have a cool beak like spoonbill, pelican, hawk or eagle?
Haha, you are right. They do have cool beaks. Okay, come with me. I will explain. Poppy, do you see that spoonbill over there eating worms?
Yes.
Now tell me, do you like eating worms?
Yuck, that would be disgusting.
Well, Poppy, that's what the spoonbill's beak is designed for. Now see that pelican catching fish. Do you want to eat fish?
Oh, I can't think of eating anything worse.
Haha, so the pelican's beak for you would not work either. Come, I'll show you something more. Poppy, look at that hawk and eagle. They are hunting rabbits and mice. Do you also want to eat them?
Yuck, rabbits, mice, never.
Then you shouldn't aspire to have a hawk's beak or an eagle's. Come, Poppy, let's go back. How about having small seeds?
They are not so bad, but my favorite is Brazil nuts.
That's good. I think I have a few here. Would you like one?
Yes, please.
Now tell me, Poppy, if you had the beak of a spoonbill, pelican, hawk, or eagle, do you think that you could eat that Brazil nut?
No, I would not be able to eat these nuts at all.
You see, dear Poppy, you have been designed a certain way with certain skills, attributes, and tastes. Don't waste your life being envious of the capacities of others. Just make sure that you know what you're good at and why you are here.
Thanks, Macaw, for making me understand and feel special.
You are designed for a specific purpose. Don't worry about the skills and attributes of others. They have their own purpose that probably won't suit you. You have the ability to do remarkable things just as you are. Work on that purpose. Get better at those skills. Be the change.
Sairam, so let's open the floor to everyone. Anyone would like to just unmute and share with us what is your take from this video?
Sairam, Sabitan.
Sairam, Sister Geeta.
It's a wonderful way of accepting who you are actually. When we look at ourselves, we always compare ourselves with others. When others can do something that is so, immediately it becomes so obvious and everybody knows. So you feel, whatever you have achieved is nothing, very small compared to what that person or those people have done. Especially even in our spiritual world, we do tend to compare what we are doing with others who are doing greater things in the Sai organization. And sometimes sometimes we feel whatever I'm doing is so tiny, nothing to shout out about. But, when we really forget about comparison, of this comparison, I think it will help us to accept our talents much better. So what we can do is to fully focus our talents, accept the way we are, and proceed and use our talents to improve ourselves within our own sphere. Sairam.
Sairam, so thank you, Sister Geeta, for sharing that experience and what do you think of this video. So she's extremely right. Sometimes it's a comparison that brings all the worries and unnecessary thing about bring all these unnecessary things into our present moment experience. So that's why our present moment experience is usually not the way we expect it to be, or not in accordance to our liking. So then we end up with all the other kinds of dissatisfaction and for a prolonged period, then mind up with depression, anxiety, and all the illnesses in regards to the mind will start to pop in. So thank you, Sister Geeta. But how about anyone else? Anyone has anything else to share? How do you think by just accepting who you are can lead to happiness? What's the secret behind the process of acceptance itself?
Sairam, Brother Sabitan, and we each come into the world to work out our own karma. We must never compare ourselves with others, as we all have different destinies. More important is to learn to live happily with others. Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Sister Jeannie. So accepting that we have come in with a certain karmic baggage and we have come to work, we have come to clear and come to let go, and also come to earn something. We earn grace, something like that. So accepting that these are some circumstances that might come with us or be present with us in our experience. Anyone else?
I think in this accepting, there is one drawback here is that we have to learn something new, and we have to take the inspiration from others also. So it is when we sit back and say we are happy with what we have, I mean, we don't grow much. So that is a drawback here when we have to strike a balance. That is it taking away my peace if I'm getting something, learning from others or something like that. So that should be also taken into account, because it's our journey to progress. And if we sit back and just say I'm happy with what I'm having, it is also not a good. I feel that not a good practice, because the growth will not come unless we learn from others, unless we come. And learning means to get inspired, not to be jealous, not to be very feel bad about it, but see how we can use that inspiration to move us away from our difficulties. At the same time, grow in our spiritual journey. So that also sometimes it pulls us back if we are happy with whatever we have. Is also a thing to be considered. Saira.
I agree with Brother Manu. Sometimes finding the balance can be a difficult process to strive and also to take a step back and also accept. But I guess once you find that balance, and that is also part of accepting as well, because we understand that we have some limitations, and not things does not work just overnight. You want to be someone, even if you get inspired by someone, it's not instantly you can transform yourself to become that person. It takes some time, it takes some work, and it takes a lot of patience, especially. And during this process where you are taking steps to move and to transform yourself, then this is where acceptance play an important role in my understanding. So the more you accept that these are my limitations, however, with these limitations, I'll try to move on, I'll try to improve step by step, rather than if you do not accept. If, let's say, you take the opposite the other way, and you resist the change instead of accepting the change. Sometimes when we accept the change, that's when we learn. But when we resist that change itself, then most likely what will happen is you will move into a state of defeat, and you will not even want to take the next step. So this is why a lot of people fail in their sadhana. A lot of people, once if you go to the gym early of the year, you will see this is just something static. Every year after year after year, it happens all the time in all the gyms in the world. The beginning of the year, you will see 30, 40 people. You have to fight for the treadmill, to get the treadmill. Just do a 20-minute jog, a 30-minute jog. And you want to use the gym equipment, you have to wait in turn. But when you reach March, maybe you have to wait for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then once you come to June, then you see like nobody is there. It's back to you. And when you're moving to December, it's just you in the gym working out every single day. So similarly, most people drop out of this change, or wanting to move forward, wanting to grow. This growth is because they have the sense of resistance to change itself that's within themselves. So accepting that resistance, accepting that this is also part of the process of change, and then allowing the resistance to be there. And then once the resistance is there and it's accepted, just bringing awareness to this process, then it will slowly dissipate within you, and you can start to move beyond this resistance and take up the challenge and move towards what Swami has laid out for us as instruments. So thank you so much, Brother Manoj. That's wonderful.
I think knowing our Dharma is important. I remember when I was schooling, probably from 5, I was having holiday. One day my father asked me, "Hey, you're free, why don't you help the family business?" But in my heart, my conscience was, no, this is my time of study. I won't participate in the business or help you in the business, But I also, inside myself, I also say, when I finish my study, when I want to help the family, I will go all out. And that's what I did. When I left and joined the family, you do a lot of research, study, and try to build the family business. So you know your Dharma, and then after when you get married, you say, okay, your Dharma is take care of family, take care of family business. And then later on, you realize there's also other Dharma you need to do, right? It's just like even my 20 years of conducting Soham meditation, I'm still learning. I'm still learning from participants, from video, from books, It's very interesting. Although you know a lot, but there's no end to learning. Participants will be asking questions that you really what you call trigger your mind to think at different angle and all that. So as Brother Mano said, you are not mono, rather that you have to be open. Sairam.
Yeah, Saram, Brother James. Thank you for your sharing just now. So, accepting responsibilities and accepting how and what life gives us, right? So that's wonderful. Thank you. So let's move on.
Yeah. Just one more point. I think under the subject of acceptance, acceptance has got two levels. One is like these birds, they were, discussion is where you accept your unique position. That means every individual is unique and I have been bestowed with certain talents and skills, which is probably unique. And I manifest that to the best of my ability. So I don't need to look left. I don't need to look right. So I don't need to feel inferior or superior. I don't need to feel envy. I am fantastic. So I'm just as I am. Even, there are people who are, have limitations in many extents, have excelled far beyond even normal people. So what does it imply? Acceptance is accepting your limitations, but one quality we must have, which I think Brother Manoj mentioned, is the aspiration. If you're not going to have aspiration, you will remain where we are. If the aspiration of a caterpillar is not to become a butterfly, it'll remain where it is. So we need to understand that our potentials are huge. The brain cells the number of brain cells that we possess is in trillions. The number of brain cells required for a bee to do all the activities of a bee, including making honey or traveling, eating, mating, meeting, every one of those requires 960,000 brain cells. That's all. That means whatever a human being can do, a bee can also function with 960,000 cells. But in a human brain, it has got trillions of brain cells, which means to say our ability to aspire is amazing potential. But if we just accept what we are accepting and this is what it is, then we will fail. We will just continue to be mediocre. I give good examples of aspirations. So you can accept the limitations. For example, Bangsa Center, we had no center, and without a center, what can we do? So under the leadership of Brother Ganesh, Nadaraja, and this entire team of teachers and all, they develop 150 students, and they have their center in SS3. So it's limitations, but within the limitations, there's an aspiration to touch people and reach out people like that. If you look at Indonesia, it's amazing. The work that they're doing now is something breakthrough. It's a real novel thing. They developed their own liquid. They pour into ponds, rivers, and all, and literally that liquid can clean up the ponds and rivers. And it has been so successful. It's been endorsed by the government apparently, and they're now done hundreds of those rivers and lakes in Indonesia where they're cleaning up. It's an aspiration to reach out to that kind of thing. So like that, there are many, many examples of this, that despite limitations of resources, despite limitations, instead of just merely accepting that, they want to move with this to move beyond. That's why Baba used this word, love my uncertainty, love my uncertainty. Love my uncertainty means don't be remaining in the complacent and feel that this is okay. Our job is not to become, you see, Muhammad Ali, if you look at Muhammad Ali, when he was fighting, he said, I'm not great, I'm not greater, I'm the greatest. So he will fear, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest. Baba is not saying don't be great. Baba is not saying don't be just greater. Baba is not saying don't be greatest. Baba is saying be God. There cannot be a higher aspiration than that to become God. So the whole idea is our human structure, our existence and everything else, we are meant for something huge and something big. You have to think about this. Very spiritual person must think about this. In Satya Sai Speaks, Baba clearly stated that if you're not what is the greatest? A spiritual jnani must be always contemplating upon death. That is the highest. So once you know that the death will allow you to exit from this world, so time is short, now comes the aspiration. So within this short framework, I must aspire for something more. I must aspire for something else. Good aspiration will be, I always will be very inspired to see Brother Billy Fong also. Every function he will take is very, although despite his age, he is very gadget sensitive. He'll put this, put that, don't know what all, and then he is able to achieve things that even young adults may not be able to do. So that's aspiration. So my dear friend, and I see Auntie Maya sometimes, she come there and then she'll stitch back. That day she brought a lot of bags that she herself stitches it and then brings it and sells it and then takes the money and gives it to the Sai school. I was used to wonder why she's at this age, she got a retired state, and then why, my God, it's powerful. That is very simple deed, but it's very motivating, even and inspiring to see such aspirations. So that means you're not willing to accept the situation where you are. So acceptance is good, but in order for it to lead to happiness, it must also have a twinning aspect to aspiration. Acceptance and aspirations will lead you to happiness. And by the way, the only way to happiness also, Baba said, there's only one way to be happiness. Happiness means union with God. So union with God is aspiration to be that. These two must come together for real happiness, lasting happiness, and true happiness. So these two things must be combined for us to move towards that. So that's the interesting thing. That's why Manoj mentioned that also. So I said, so if I'm going to sing and continue to remain bhajan, okay, that's nice, that's good. Okay, hey, why can't I just do this seva also? Why can't I do that? Why I'm not able to achieve that? So you must now think, how do I break my only way of expressing? I want to devote to another level. So after this session now, I don't normally read spiritual books. Okay, why can't I read one Jnani? Okay, Dhyana Vahini. Let me read one paragraph. Okay, that's an aspiration. Now you're breaking that mold of yours to move to something higher, something greater, like that. I've never done meditation, I'm not so good. Okay, from now on I try. I will, like James is doing so many meditations. So now we must try. Okay, well, James, how you're doing this? So you must ask telephone. Okay, I need to come together. I must do this. Now Sabitan is doing that course, that 10 days course, that weekend course, silence session. Apparently there are 10 more sessions or 12 more slots available. Okay, how to go to that session? What happens there? That must be the aspiration. So now our job is to create higher aspirations within ourselves to manifest our talents and skills and all that. That must be what they call the divine discontent in us. The divine discontent means always wanting to improve, always wanting to move to the next level. That means always creating better versions of ourselves is an aspiration. So never become satisfied with what it is. Now, this will help you to improve, and then you really become. It's like, how if you love a girl, and if you really love, so you'll do anything to impress, isn't it? You buy the present on Valentine's Day, you put the present, you write a nice, beautiful card, you do the thing, you come early, you tuck in the shirt, you make sure your shirt, you buy a new shirt or whatever, and then you do all those special things because there is an aspiration to please. But now it's not a boy or a girl, but this is an aspiration to please Swami. Wow. See, when you're trying to please Bhagavan, the Lord, the Creator, the avatar of the Kali Yuga, and you chose Bhagavan, you chose me to be in this. So I want to do for you. Now, how do I make this better? Swami, how do I connect this? How do I make more people become interested in what you're doing? How do I, when I say something, how is it that I can make other people experience that? That intensity, if you start doing this, we are in love with God. This is what is meant by divine romance. Divine romance. We are romantically involved with this. Divine romance goes on intensifying our acceptance and our aspirations for the higher achievements, because finally we are supposed to reach God. So this is how the river should flow to the ocean.
Okay, Sairam, thank you, Brother Suresh, for a wonderful explanation. Now let's move on. So the answers to the question. So the question was, in your personal experience, how is goodness the way to extinguish desires and cultivate true happiness? Okay, so the answers, Sister Sharmini, are you here, sister? Could you explain how scripture,
brother. Yes,
yeah,
brother, I'm here. Yes.
how scriptural studies in particular, like Advaita and studying the scriptures and really going into the depths of it can help you extinguish your desires and find true happiness. Maybe just elaborating on that a bit.
Basically, I study the scriptures every morning. I try to do it between 5 and 6 a.m. It helps me. Because I go for classes, Advaita Vedanta classes, and it actually helps to sharpen my intellect. So, like Brother Suresh Govind said just now, application. Later, I try to be in a state of equilibrium. So, at the start of the day, by doing japam and scriptural studies and everything, it sets the tone for the rest of the day. So, I find myself not like a pendulum swinging all the way up and down, left and right, but more of an equanimous state. Eye of the typhoon, or what was it? Eye of the hurricane, yes. So I try to be at the eye of the hurricane, and I find that I'm not fluctuating too much, and I'm able to face situations in a very calm and composed manner. And I explained the pyramid of desires last week. I think I use that as my guide. So when I go for process of self-development, all these studies of scriptures helps in my self-development. And then I ask questions, self-inquiry. I spend quite a lot of time in reflection and contemplation. It's my form of prayer. So that's how I find that it is quite helpful for me. Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Sister
Sairam.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Wonderful sharing there.
Savitan, let's interview. I like this. Just want to ask you. So in your how long do you normally spend time in the morning meditation and prayers?
My japam is only 20 minutes. I just chant Swami's name and visualize Swami. I mentioned this before in a few sessions ago. So that's just 20 minutes only. But the scriptural studies, I try to do it for at least 45 minutes to an hour. Before I go to work, I usually go for a morning walk. So before all that, I do the 1 hour. I try to slot in 1 hour to study as well.
So in that whole day, like now when you go to work and all that, so when people interact or so you basically remain like in a more equanimity state most of the day, is it?
Yeah, I'm able to face situation in an objective way. I don't get too emotional, or I don't swing up and down. I used to before I got into the Vedanta classes and studying the subject and everything. I used to swing like a pendulum, but now I find that I'm a much more calmer and more stable. And the japam has helped, and the scriptural studies has put things in perspective and made me understand things better.
Oh, amazing. And what about sleep? Is that good sleep?
Yeah. My sleep, I actually at 10 o'clock is past my bedtime. My bedtime is 9:30 actually. And I sleep for a good 7 hours. So sleep is not an issue. I try to wake up by 5 in the morning, and then I do my japam, and then I do the study as well before I go for my morning walk and then work.
And what about diet? Is it just for other people? Are you careful about what you eat?
Yes, brother. Yes. I turned vegetarian actually. I was previously a non-vegetarian. So for the past 2.5 years, I've been vegetarian. And yeah, my diet is quite all right. Yeah, clean diet.
So these changes that you experience now, have others seen and reflected that? I was saying, wow, sister, you have now become more calm. Have people commented like that? Have people seen changes?
Actually, my mom says I've become more detached. My mom feels that I've become more detached, but I'm actually more objective in my way of thinking and my approach to things. I don't get too emotional like I used to be before. And they still can't comprehend how I turned vegetarian. So, but that's a story for another day.
And since when you became vegetarian, teacher?
During the pandemic, brother, in 2021.
While you are practicing all this, right?
Yes, yes. Japam, I started, now it's almost 2 years already, Japam. But before that, I turned vegetarian. In 2021, I turned vegetarian.
Yeah, you see, just wanted to see, this is what happened that when you're intensifying the experience, it comes like a collective force like that, and then the mind that is fluctuating goes into a steady equipoise, and then that invokes the atmic experience, and then it touches and ramifies, become more objective. There'll be clarity of direction. They're less emotional, deep sleeping. So this is now moving towards a more balanced. This is the kind of spiritual life that we now, not only we must practice, but we need to propagate it to all the others to also practice it, even in the Sai Center and all that. Even now, we are seriously looking at how to change the role of spiritual coordinator also in the Sai centers. Nowadays, spiritual coordinators, they organize bhajans, organize study circle, organize, and then that's it. But that's like event management. But a spiritual coordinator should also nurture like this. They should have groups like that in the center and nurture people to transform, like what sister is saying, and then help people to grow deeper and deeper into the experience. So we are trying to get a training program done at the international level so that more and more spiritual coordinators achieve this kind of experiences for devotees. But very nice, sister. Thank you so much. Very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Back to
Saira.
Saira.
So maybe we will just have another few. So is Sister Shanta here? Sister Shanta, are you here? Saram, Sister Shanta, are you here, Sister?
Sairam, I'm here.
Okay, Sister Shanta, can you just briefly explain on sealings of desire? How by practicing sealing of desire, you are able to move towards happiness and letting go of desires?
Yes, when I practice, see, now sometimes sometimes I feel like eating some sweets. This is for an example I am saying. I feel like eating, so when I control my desire, not eat, it's good for my health also. And also I'm putting putting the ceiling on my desires by not eating too much of sweets or something like that. So in a day-to-day activity, I try to do this, bring the ceiling on desire into practice. Not only in that way, in so many other ways. See, in those days, I used to, when I was working, I used to I was crazy on buying a lot of saris to wear. But later on, I find when I do all these Swami's teachings, when I follow, and I have also been a Balavika's guru teacher, guru, and then EHV coordinator and all that. So by practicing Swami's teachings, we tend to give up our desires and we become more controlled. That is what I feel.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Sister Shanta. That's wonderful. So by practicing sealing of desire, you become more control, and that control gives you a lot of peace and happiness. Okay, fantastic, Sister. Can we have Sister Geeta? So, Sister Geeta, can you briefly explain how the deep involvement in SSE help you given up your worldly desires? Sister Geeta, are you here?
Yes, I am. Sorry. Yes, actually, my everything is centered around SSE and Rose, you see. And that involvement has helped me a lot in dealing with so many issues that I used to undergo. And I think that is the main, what shall I say, the main reason for me to at least, feel that I'm slowly evolving spiritually. So
and how did it help you give up your worldly desires? Because most of the time we are under the impression that, you know, like teaching SSC is basically just going to the center, teaching the students and coming back. So what makes the change? How teaching this can actually help you you know, detach from the worldly desire?
yeah, because my focus is entirely there, you know, so I tend to forget about so many other things. So when that happens, I feel that I'm giving up so much of what I used to love. It's just until the barest minimum. Not so much, but you know, very much simpler, you know, lifestyle than what I used to lead. I wanted this, I wanted that, I wanted to achieve this and that, so many things. So now what my main purpose is this is my mission, to be involved in SSC until such time when you cannot do anything else. Anything. Yeah.
Okay. And how about practicing it as well? So that also makes a difference, right? Like sometimes when we teach and then we also practice that in our life.
Mm. Well, it has helped me a lot actually to practice what I teach, you see.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm nowhere, you know, where I'm supposed to be actually, you know, but quite a bit of it has actually helped me a lot, and I've learned so much, and I've learned how to improve myself, you know, and what shall I say? Aspire to evolve spiritually even more. Not only aspire, but also do it so that, you know, it actually happens. Well, I have a long way, but at least I'm somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's wonderful. So coming back to acceptance, right? So you know you're making you know that you're making progress, and also accepting the fact that you are making progress, and you know there are some things that you need to work as well on yourself. Just being kind and compassionate to yourself as well. So showing that love internally. Sometimes, like what Suresh Anna mentioned, the thorns can be within yourself, not necessarily in your physical body. It can be in your mental body as well. The trauma that we're carrying, the worries that we're carrying, the baggage that we're carrying, these are all forms of thorns that will keep us entangled again and again and again, doing the same drama again and again and again in repetitive. So understanding that reactivity and bringing awareness to that, and showing yourself kindness and compassion during this period of difficulty, and slowly accepting and allowing peace to come up as you go, sister. So that's wonderful, wonderful. Sairam. So unlike that, I think we are done.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Still, we others we will be finishing. We'll be doing next week, right, Savitan?
Yes, we're just halfway through on.
Okay, we'll finish. Yeah. So I think this is very, very interesting, very exciting. You can see that from each perspective, we can go so deep in many areas, and by others expressing we will learn from everyone else how to be like that. That's what it is. So that, like in the play we did in the opening ceremony for the Sri Lanka retreat, time has come. We can pray to Rama. We can search for Rama. We can read about Rama. We can acknowledge Rama. We can do puja for Rama. But the key point is to become Rama. That is the whole idea. That's exactly why Hanuman is worshipped, to become. So this session that we talked about with reference to expressing that is to give a vivid idea how it can impact our lifestyle. That is what we now need to do in everything is translate back, look at our own life and see whether our experiences are deeper. Because don't forget, we're supposed to go for 10 to the power 18 quintillon happiness. Can you imagine the level of bliss is supposed to be quintillon? So we now have to increase our aspiration. oh Baba, you have given out of, I was last time I was a worm and then monkey and whatever, then I finally became a human being. Oh, thank you so much, Swami, for becoming your contemporary. Thank you for acknowledging. Thank you for giving a role in this. So, and now let me get back. I want to get back. So that aspiration must always be there. That I want to get back, go back to God. So doing everything and anything, finding ways and means to find answers and symbols for us to be reminded of our return journey. That keeps us always intact and makes us always happy and blissful. Till we meet again next week, Sai Ram and good night.
Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, and thank you everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Good night.
Sai Ram, brother.
Thank you.